Hello everybody. Welcome to this video live stream on social medias. And first of all, I want to introduce myself for those who don't know me because I'm live streaming now and on my social media platforms and on personal ones and on public ones. So, first of all, I'm Coach Lily and I'm directing my coaching towards connections to self. Because when this connection to self is in balance, is in harmony, then all other connections are flourishing. And we find ourselves in the right connections. So this is a little bit about me, and in this video I'm going to talk because I feel so much inspired. I'm going to talk about the importance of connection. And that's what compassionate leadership is. Compassionate leadership is connection. First and foremost, connection to our own heart. Because when we are connected to our own heart, then we are able to connect to the hearts of other people. So in this video, also I will expand a little bit more on how compassionate leadership looks like. I will do my best to to send you the visual, how I imagine compassionate leadership looking like. Because I strongly believe that we are now on the edge, at the door of the change. And we are changing from distorted masculine energy that created distorted structures like business, banking, politics, distorted family dynamics. All of this is crumbling down now, and we are witnessing it. And how I see by observing the shift, the change happens because of the feminine energy, because of people finally coming into awareness of the importance of the heart, of the importance of the connection to the heart. Because when we are connected to our heart, whatever we do, those actions come from the space of compassion. Even if we might make mistakes, even if we might fall out from grace at times, still connecting back to the heart and continuing from that space. So, my dears, I just want to let you know that I'm looking to both screens. I have to both cameras. I have one camera and another camera. So just have it in mind if my look will shift and change from up and down. So yeah, let's start. Let's start first and foremost. How I introduced in the event, I wrote in the description that masculine energy that forgot to include the feminine. And yes, guys, I will speak on this topic through the lenses, through the perspective of feminine and masculine energies within. So first of all, let me introduce those who still don't know, who never heard. Welcome to the community of knowing what feminine masculine energy is. So feminine energy is the feelings, is the heart, is the intuition, and all of those feelings of compassion and love and forgiveness and all of the best feelings. The same as also not so nice feelings, because the heart embraces all feelings, right? So this is the feminine energy. Masculine energy is the mind. It's logical, rational, strategic, taking actions, providing. So the feminine leads the way by saying what. The feminine, the heart, shows the direction where to go, while the mind is supposed to create a strategy how to go to that point where the heart shows. So this is that balance of yin and yang, of feminine and masculine, the balance between the mind and the heart. So we don't need to choose one over another, right? Because we need both. And that's how those two are working in balance. So, some introduction to what feminine and masculine energies are. And now, when it comes to compassionate leadership, that's what I am missing, and I would love to hear from you as well. Feel free to comment. Are you also missing the heart in what is being created, what has been created actually? Because how I see by observing that everything, okay, not everything, most of them that have been created in terms of business, in terms of families, in terms of friendships, also any kind of relationship, all of those, also business and politics, all of those were created without the heart, without the feeling. The feminine, the heart was pushed away. No other direction, yeah, pushed away. Because the logic, the rationality took over. And it was masculine driven society and mentality that I can trust only what I see, I can touch, I can smell with our physical sensorics. While the heart, the feelings, what is intangible, what you can't touch, you can't rationalize, is being pushed away because people don't trust it. People don't trust what they are feeling. People don't trust what their heart is telling them, what intuition is telling them. So imagine businesses were created, or I would say have been created, by the logical rational stance that, oh, this idea I will do because it brings me money. This idea I will do because of I will get social status, or I will go to this party because they are stronger even though they don't match my views. Do you get what I mean? That actions that have been taken, they were based only of the mind, by the mind, and there was no heart. That's why all of those structures now are crumbling down. The same as I promise, probably you can see it within yourself as well. Because feminine and masculine energy is within each person, and then we see how it is playing out in the collective. So if you internally don't have those energies balanced, then you are playing a certain role in the collective, whether you are too feminine or whether you are too masculine. If there is no balance, then there is a distortion, and we need balance. And the reason why we need balance and why I feel so confident and so passionate talking about it is because more and more and more I see around me, my friends, my clients, they are going through massive rejections and abandonments. And that's something that is my core wound. Who knows, who doesn't know? Rejection is my core wound that I'm on the journey of healing it. Because from very first years of my birth, I have been rejected all over and over and over again because of my looks and because of many other reasons. So that feeling of rejection is so familiar to me. And that's why I'm so passionate, because when I see that people are rejecting one another, abandoning one another because of false beliefs and distortions that is inherited by the distorted masculine energy, when I see that, I'm like, no, we need to talk about it. And we need to talk seriously. Because today on my social media, my personal profile on Facebook, Lily Butterfly, I shared a video about how the human brain develops in the first 5 years. When a child doesn't get emotional connection with the caregivers, that child will grow up feeling very, very anxious. And that adult will be craving for emotional connection, because that's how they feel safe, when they are able to connect to another person by the heart, by the feelings. And if you ask me personally, I truly believe that this is the most raw and the most natural way of being. That's how we're supposed to be. Because that's where compassion comes from the heart, not from rejection. And that's why those people who have anxious attachment style, because they didn't have that emotional connection in their childhood, and that's what they're craving in their adulthood. Yes, some people can label it as trauma, but what if I'm inviting you now to look to this not from the perspective of trauma, but from perspective of the light, not from the shadow, not from the perspective of the shadow, but from the perspective of the light. Because those anxious people, who are craving for that emotional connection, actually, they remember on a soul level what is the right way of being. Those people remember where they are coming from, because we are coming from the source of love. They're outside, there is no disconnection, there is no abandonment, there is no rejection, there is no such judgments as, like, you are in a low vibe, so I don't have time for you, because I can't focus on a low vibe because it will affect me, my vibe. So I will reject you. Or I'm too busy to listen to your struggles. Another rejection, right? So I want you guys to ask yourself now, but honestly, like, having your hearts to your hearts, your hands to your heart. Ask yourself, how much are you abandoning yourself? How much are you rejecting your own feelings? Are you listening to are you paying attention to those emotional triggers that that you suddenly feel, or are you shutting those down and running and not allowing yourself to feel? Because I don't know, probably you learned that it's not okay to feel, so to say, negative feelings. What is not negative is just our judgment, whether it's a good or bad experience. It's just the experience. Because I see, working with people and in my own social circle, I see this tendency, people disconnecting from their heart massively. And that's where compassionate leadership must come into place. Because what I see from leaders as well, from leaders from spiritual community, leaders from coaching community as well, they are more speaking about the disconnection and believing that this is the best way of living. Living being disconnected. How does it feel for you when your mom or your dad didn't listen to you? How does it feel when your mom or your dad didn't have time to acknowledge your achievements? How did it feel when your friend shut the doors in front of you because you're in a low vibe and somebody else in a higher vibe, right? And I can't look to you, I can't focus on you because you will affect my vibe. Yes, with this video, I'm also calling on a bullshit, because by seeing all of that distortion that comes from the masculine energy, that distortion that we need to shut the feelings down, we need to shut the expression of the feelings down, that this became normal. That suppression of the feminine energy, of the heart, of the feelings became a norm. And that's not how I see the future. And that's not how I remember that normal is. Normal is life with compassion. Normal is life with empathy. Normal is life with love. Normal is life with inspiration. Normal is life being connected to the heart. and normal is when we are connected to our heart, then we know what to do and how to behave in order to help a person in front of us to connect to their heart instead of reject them for acting out because of their suffer and making those people who suffer responsible for your own well-being. That is lacking emotional maturity. I'm not here to blame anybody. I'm here just to highlight what the processes are happening and what needs to be taken in order to change that process. And yes, I'm using that energy, that charged energy, that also has that sense of anger. Yes, I am now in that energy. But you know what? Anger is not a bad feeling. It's our judgment to the feeling that makes it valid. Anger is needed to destroy the shit or to destroy whatever in order to prepare the ground to plant the seeds in a fruitful in a fruitful land for new fruits to come out, for flourishing to see. But first, we need to use that anger, if there is no any other way, to use that anger to destroy what is being built on the distorted masculine energy that is not including the heart, that is not including the feelings, whether it's business, whether it's family relationships, whether it's romantic partnerships, or maybe friendships, or maybe politics, or pharmacy, the same, or science that is only using the mind to find out by pushing the heart, suppressing the intuition, what they need to do and how to go about. In feminine and masculine energies are in all sectors in our life. And that's why for me it's so important compassionate leadership. Because I myself, and I'm really honest, really raw with you guys, I added up, as every single person on this earth, I added up to creating that masculine distorted creation in this world. I was a part of that creation because I did believe the same false beliefs that the law of attraction, for example, is teaching, and all of that spiritual community about the high vibe, low vibe, about focusing on the high vibe. I did believe that, oh my God, if I can't focus on the negatives, because if I focus on the negatives, it means I will multiply it and I will manifest it in my life. So I need to ignore, reject, and dismiss any trigger that makes me feel uncomfortable. So because I had that distorted belief, I did reject many people because I was running away from triggers. I was running, and by doing that, I was running away from my own heart. I was rejecting my own heart by every time I was avoiding to feel the feeling, whether the pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling. Each time I avoided was the moment when I participated in creating that distorted masculine energy in the collective. And that's why I'm so passionate. And I so much want to see us humanity. I have a vision. I want to see us humanity as living with an open heart, embodying compassion, being the example of compassion, knowing how to create a safe space, a safe container where a person who doesn't feel well because he or she is disconnected from his or her health, who is acting out from trauma. I want to see that leaders approach such situations with compassion and that they don't ignore, that they don't reject and dismiss those people. Because leaders are meant to lead. And we are going to lead by the example. So if you are one of the leaders, in whatever sense it is, actually we are each a leader in our environment, because there is always at least one person who is looking up to us and learning and observing us. So I want to ask you as a leader, what example do you want to be? What do you want others to learn from your behavior? How do you want that others treat you? Be that change that you want to see in the life, in the world. As cheesy as it sounds, but that's true. And also, what I noticed working with people psychology and observing my own social environment and observing my own internal process is those people who are rejecting others because they probably trigger some emotions that they just don't want to feel, so they are rejecting those people. What I noticed that we, myself included, we will always be treating other people in the same way as we are treating our inner child. We are always going to relate to another person exactly in the same style, exactly in the same manner as we are relating to our heart. So how can we understand how another person is feeling if we don't understand our own feelings? How can we notice and be present in the expression of the feelings of another person if we are running from our own feelings, from our own heart. And each time, my dear, each time, if situation happens for you that you want to reject somebody because they trigger you and you just can't stand, and it's normal, triggers are very normal. In those situations, I really want you to remember this. See that person as a child. If you have your own children, see that person as your child. Or maybe as your future child. Because in this way you are preparing to be a parent. Because the way you are treating yourself is the way you are treating others, meaning in the same way you will be treating your child. So if somebody is acting out, if somebody says something that triggers you or does something that triggers you, would you say the same to your child that, you know what, go away, go to your room, uh, you are in your low vibe, I will not look to you, I will not give you affection, I can't focus on you now because you are on a low vibe. You are disturbing my high vibe. And when you will come up into high vibe, then yeah, I welcome you. Isn't it conditional love? Isn't it repeating the same patterns, generational patterns of our parents, our grandparents, our ancestors, who didn't have that emotional intelligence at those times, what is really normal, but with what we have now, with all the tools, resources, we can't excuse ourselves anymore. We can't run away from accountability and responsibility of our own actions when we have all the information to learn from. We can't avoid it anymore if we want to see the change. And that's why, guys, now I feel like it's time to end. That's why you feel my passion, you feel my inspiration probably. And let me check if I have some chats, some messages in the chat. Okay, no. So that's why I'm so passionate, because the topic of rejection, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the topic of rejection is my core wound. I grew, I grew up with that. I grew up being rejected from everything and everybody and from everywhere because people were triggered by my looks. It's not that something was wrong with me, but that triggered their own insecurities. But at that time, I took it personally. Now, not anymore. And that's why there's such a beautiful saying, and that's such a beautiful truth, that your biggest pain is your biggest life purpose. So if you don't know what your life purpose is, look to your heart. Turn back to your heart. See your heart. See your feelings. Don't be afraid. because there is the answer to what your purpose is. Because you are meant to serve to other people and make opposite from what you experience. So it means if in my childhood I also didn't have my voice, my voice was being suppressed, the same as my feelings, because my parents, they just didn't know any better at that time. So I didn't feel safe to express what I am thinking or to express what I was feeling, what I was thinking or what I was feeling. Because if my feelings triggered my parents, they didn't react in the pleasant way. Or if my thoughts were opposing the opinions of my parents, they didn't like it either. So because of this, of that suppression of my voice and my feminine energy, that's my mission, that's my call, to make a change, to be that change actually, to be that example of that change, of how important the voice is, how important it is to speak your truth without the feelings of shame or guilt or fear that are ghosts coming back from the childhood. When we heal, then all of that disappears. And when we heal, then we are able to be that compassionate leader. Because if our wounds are not being healed, then it means we don't have the we don't have compassion to ourselves. Actually, no, I'm taking my words back now. I got clarification. You don't need to be completely healed in order to feel compassion for yourself. Compassion during the process of the healing is enough in order to be a compassionate leader. Yes. Let's repeat. You don't need to be completely healed in order to feel compassion for yourself. So it means you don't need to be completely healed in order to be a compassionate leader. But you need to be doing the work. You need to be doing the healing. And that's why I so much believe in what I'm doing. I so much believe in coaching about connections. I so much believe in assisting people to connect back to their heart, because I'm working towards a bigger vision that I shared with you. And that's why, and welcome guys, I see who came just now. I'm at the end of the message. That's why compassionate leaders need. I already lost where I finished, but okay, let's continue from here. That's why compassionate leaders need to do healing on themselves. They need to start connecting to their heart. Because without the heart, without the connection to the heart, there is no compassion for self. So we can't be compassionate to others as well. So for leaders, it's a must. And another thing, what I forgot to mention, oh, this video is going to be long. I already see it. another thing, wait a second, let me remember, just flew away. Yes, compassionate leaders. What happens when the leader leads with compassion? How does it look? Maybe it's difficult for people even to see the vision of how it looks. So, compassionate leadership is when the leader knows how to create a safe space for another person to transform. And not only to transform, to flourish, to open up, to blossom. Because people are their most authentic self when they feel safe. I will repeat one more time. People are the most authentic self when they feel safe. So if you as a leader want to have a highly functioning team and that would bring you efficiency that you desire, then you must lead with compassion. Because compassion is what helps to create that safe space where a person is opening themselves up to you. Because they are not afraid. They are not afraid of rejection. They are not afraid of abandonment. And most of all, they are not afraid of judgment. And that knowing how to create a safe space, how to hold that safety so others can be their true authentic self in your presence. Isn't it what every leader wants? And okay, every healthy leader, let's say like that. Wouldn't you like to have a team who follows you, who helps you to create your vision, or who adds to your vision? Don't you want to have those people in their most raw, authentic self, showing themselves to you how they are, because they are not afraid of you? And that's what is falling down now, those structures of distorted masculine energy that was suppressing the feminine, suppressing the heart, the feelings, shutting down, not paying attention to how employees are feeling, because the most important is revenue and income and productivity and efficiency. And for the sake of more, people and their feelings were shut down because nobody cared how people feel, right? Because leader never cared about his or her own feelings. They didn't know how to connect to their heart. And that's why I'm calling all leaders out on the message. Invite more compassion into your life, into your heart. And to do so, you need to start connecting to your own heart and show that compassion to yourself. Every time you find doing a mistake, insane amount, radical amount of self-love to yourself, self-love and compassion, self-love and compassion for yourself. Only then you as a leader will be able to do that for others. And only then you will be the right parent for your present or your future kids. Because the way you are treating your own inner child will be exactly the same way as you're gonna treat your child. And I can see really beautiful results of me implementing that compassionate connection from heart to heart, implementing that attitude and learning myself how to create that safe space. I see beautiful, maybe very small, but I see changes with my mom because we are going through some rift now with her. And now all emotions are bubbling up. And I used to reject her because of that, because of her extreme sensitivity. I used to reject her and abandon her until I realized what I was doing. And now I'm holding that space for her to transform. Not by leaving her, but opposite, by staying present with her. Not always, of course, because we each need our alone time to process what things happen. But every time the conflict comes up, I'm not running away, I'm staying present. And I see that it helps her. I see that even though she still likes to resist the change, the shift, and accepting the feelings, but she's learning, and I see small steps of improvement. So, also, compassionate leadership requires and time and patience in order to see a beautiful change. So, with all of that said, guys, next Sunday, 9th of October, I'm starting with group coaching course, See Yourself. 3 months, we will be connecting to 3 different bodies. And October is exactly. I designed the program that October is dedicated to connect to our heart, to learn how to do it with very practical exercises and tips and tools how to develop those skills needed to be a compassionate leader, whether leader in job, whether leader in your friendships, whether leader in your family. Leadership is everywhere. So first month we will be learning how to connect to our heart, how to create that safe space, that safe container for ourselves to go through all emotions and triggers and wounds and childhood traumas. And then, knowing how to do it for ourselves, we will be able to do it for others as well. So, it's October. We start in a few days, actually, guys. Check the link. I will post somewhere in the description box. I don't know which channel you are watching now. Second month, November, we will be connecting to our masculine energy, our mind, our mental energy. Because the heart is feminine energy. It's feelings, it's intuition. So that's what we will be developing. In November, we will be learning how to connect properly to our mind, how to manage our thoughts and make it work for our heart, not the opposite, the way around. That The mind, okay, the mind must serve the heart and not the opposite way around. The heart says what? It shows the direction, where to go, and the mind creates scenario and logistics how to achieve what the heart wants. So also many different exercises we will be doing with the groups and also in big group and in smaller groups like one-on-one or two-on-two. And third month we will be connecting to our physical body because this is also energy. This is our physical body actually is a manifestation of our mental energy and our emotional energy. When those are balanced, then the physical body feels well. When those are not balanced, the physical body doesn't feel well. So we will be learning also how to understand what is happening with your mind and with your heart by the symptoms that your body speaks to you. For example, which pain in which part of the body means what on a psychological, spiritual levels. I don't know how for you, but I'm passionate about it, really. And all of that knowledge helps me so much in my own process. And that's why I'm so passionate to transfer that knowledge, to give that knowledge, to share that knowledge with other people. But the most important, I want to see compassionate leaders because that's how we're gonna create compassionate systems, meaning compassionate families, compassionate friendships, compassionate business, and business will be based on what the heart says to create rather than what the mind says to create. So also if you are working the job and you hate it, this group coaching course, See Yourself, is exactly for you. Because you will learn how to listen to your heart. You will learn how to recognize and differentiate the language and the voices of the mind and the heart. You will develop those skills how to trust what you're feeling and not abandon your heart, not abandon and not rejecting your heart. Because also, guys, how you treat yourself is how your environment is treating you. As more you connect with your heart, as less people are rejecting you. Or not like that. If you are not connecting with your heart, if you're abandoning your heart, people are abandoning and rejecting you. So with all of that said, again, it's time to end because oh my goodness gracious, 1 hour of video. I didn't expect it, but I feel that I was full, so much full of everything that I wanted to share. That was in my heart, on my soul. That, yeah, I will not speak longer. See you around, guys, and remember, remember, remember. In the face of the trigger, ask yourself, how would you treat your child? And from that space, take actions. And I promise you, those actions most likely will be compassionate. And if you don't succeed in that, what could happen? Come back to your heart and give all of that compassion to yourself for doing mistakes. Learn from that and then do better. Ciao, guys. Hear you around.